Hello, everyone, and welcome to Counselor Future Friday. I'm your host, Brian Urban. In these features, we hope to give you some simple tips, tidbits, and tricks to make your days easier and your patients happier. In today's feature, we're going to talk about schedule availability, specifically the availability tool. So we're going to start here right on the schedule. Now, just high level, what this availability tool can do for you is help you see in advance what specific time slots may be available for individual providers or across your entire team for that location, and also allow you to drill down and maybe look by specific appointment types as well. So as you can see, we have the schedule partially full for this provider for next week for Dr. Rogers here. We're going to go ahead and check on availability. So if you have a patient who calls in and is looking to schedule an appointment with Dr. Rogers, we can look right away and see when the next available time slot is, right? So if you just need a quick cleaning check, 15 or 30 minutes, okay, we have 10 o'clock on the 27th, right? So you can see that right away. This is particularly valuable, of course, for clinics, maybe you're booking out a week or 2 weeks, or you're trying to make sure you're only scheduling appointments at certain times. You're not doing all cleaning checks. You're seeing new patients. Maybe there's special testing that you do. You want to make sure you have designated time slots for. So at a very high level, this just lets you see what's happening for Dr. Rogers, and based on the time allotment, when's their next available time slot. If you wanted to expand this further for Dr. Rogers, of course, we could go ahead, click more. That's going to expand her time frame. So now we can see out further, right? So once again, if you're scheduling a week, 2 weeks, even further out, this lets you without having to scroll through each day on the schedule, you can see what's coming up and what the availability is. All right, now this can be specialized or kind of customized further, I should say. Counselor has a very elaborate tools for schedule blocking, and so in the schedule blocking tools, one of them is the ability to create what we call a restricted compete block. Kind of a complicated name, but basically what it's saying is you have the opportunity to say, hey, I only want certain appointments scheduled at certain times. And let's look at one example here. Let's say V&G, right? Because this oftentimes requires specialized equipment, maybe is staff, some staff members do it, some do not. And so this allows you to put a block on the schedule specifically around V&Gs. And so if the question comes up, when's the next V&G slot, you can look and see. Now in this case with V&G, you probably have a longer appointment. We can see it's going to be the 27th at 2:30, right? If we look back at the schedule for Dr. Rogers here, and we look at the 27th, at 2:30, what we're going to see is that block, right? So this is a restricted block, basically saying that if someone tries to schedule an appointment here that's not a V&G, they'll get a warning. They'll say, hey, you're trying to schedule this appointment at a time that's not, that this is not designated for, right? And so basically the point is you can set your schedule up however you wish with specific blocking. Obviously, you can book into those blocks. So in the case of this block here, we would want to schedule a V&G. So if we take an example, let's actually kind of show this whole process here. I'm going to grab a patient, and I'm going to go ahead and schedule them for a V&G. And just as a quick reminder, of course, these are all just sample appointment types and referral sources. You'd have your own set here. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to schedule the appointment. Okay, so now I have an appointment during that V&G block. Let's go ahead and run that same example here, looking at availability, but keep in mind that we also have another V&G block on Wednesday mornings. So this would be the first. So we look at availability now, so it's going to refresh automatically. So now I'm going to go to V&G. And what we're going to see here is that the next available time slot, there's that 8 a.m. on the 1st. Right? Even though there's available time elsewhere in the schedule, it's saying, hey, you're looking specifically for V&G. Let's focus on the time allotment for V&Gs. You can see here that the other two providers perhaps do not provide V&Gs. They don't have any blocks in their schedule. If they are, they're very far out, right? So the idea here is that you can see provider specific, appointment type specific, or more high level and generic, and just say, show me, the next 30-minute appointment that we have available. So this can be as sophisticated and as detailed as you want, or as general as you want. So if you have any questions about creating your block scheduling, we do have a separate video on managing block scheduling that I would encourage you to view. And of course, let us know if you have any questions about this availability tool. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to email us, live chat us, call us. We are always happy to help. Thank you very much for joining us for today's Counselor Feature Friday. And as always, have a wonderful Wonderful weekend.